It looks like Jeffrey Lurie is wasting no time and really went in to this coaching staff this past weekend. And we have a lot to say on the report from Nick Sirianni. We have a coach that is now available. And apparently, Eagle fans have stooped to a new low, throwing rocks at Kevin Patullo's house. What? Yeah. So there's a lot to discuss here. So let's get straight into it all.
What's the boogeyman?
As a matter of fact, it was.
What's going on, guys? From the Eagles' embarrassing loss against the Bears on Friday to watching the rest of football on Sunday, the Eagles hold the number 3 seed as of right now, only a game behind the Los Angeles Rams with their embarrassing loss against the Carolina Panthers, where the Chicago Bears now take the number 1 seed. Now, Nick Sirianni had his press conference the other day, and these were two very different press conferences. The one post-game press conference right after that loss against the Bears, Nick seemed like everything was okay. Nick seemed like they did all they could to win that game, and that's the best final product that we were going to see on the field, which is absolute fucking horseshit trash. And he walks into the press conference the other day, and there's a couple things that he did say. Nick Sirianni says, on the weekend, everything was being evaluated. We'll think about some different things, what we want to do. I don't think it benefits for me to share what it is. And still says that Kevin Patullo is still the play caller. Not surprised. But then he says, we're evaluating everything. We'll think of some different things that we want to do. All over the place. Scheme, everything. Nick Sirianni says he wants to get the offense fixed. He mentions they could be looking at changing the scheme. And here's the other thing that was said, which 12, 13 weeks later, this is being said. And you know somebody stepped in this past weekend. Jeffrey Lurie's got his stamp all over this. Or this is complete bullshit. I don't know, because we never heard this from the coaches in general. He says we might have thought this was the best going in, but as we look at it, we have to change some things too. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and expect different results. So we're hypercritical of ourselves, and we're looking for ways to help the guys be able to execute better. It always goes hand in hand right there. What necessarily worked for us in the past doesn't always mean it's going to necessarily work for you in the future. That's what the weekend was about, looking at ourselves first, because we're going to ask our players to look at themselves and everyone looking internally. About time someone said this already. They have fallen down this rabbit hole so deep to where Nick and Patullo need help and they can't figure it out on their own. Like if they hired a consultant or something like that, I would feel a little bit better that things could really change within the next few weeks. But if it's just them two trying to figure it out, like, what are they going to do? Just don't have faith in those two guys that have the exact same personalities. Both their work ethics suck on making adjustments for this team, whether it's in game or game planning and getting prepared for a fucking game. These are two guys that had a bye week when everyone went to Nick's house, and they came out looking like that after the bye week. Is it positive? Sure. Like, protect my heart. I ain't falling for none of this, because I'm sorry, these are the same two guys. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens with this offense down the line of the season, and, you know, what changes to this scheme are they? How far are they going to go drastically on how much they're changing? That should be interesting, so we'll see what happens with that. Now, another thing to talk about is Frank Reich, because now as the interim head coach at Stanford, his time is up. So he will be available, and wondering if Nick would be, you know, maybe bring Frank Reich in as a consultant, or maybe Frank Reich will be more of a next year type move at the OC. Now, we all know that Frank Reich in 2020 with Nick Sirianni as the offensive coordinator with the Indianapolis Colts, Frank called the shots. Okay, Nick was the coordinator, but Nick didn't call the plays. Nick helped with the game plan, but Frank Reich was the play caller. 2016, Carson Wentz's rookie year. 2017, the Eagles win the Super Bowl, their first Super Bowl. Okay, Frank Reich, you think Doug Peterson was a big part of the play calling. No, I mean, Frank Reich is a big reason why we were so successful those, at least building up to those 2 years. Gotta remember too, after that 2016 season, I think the Eagles only won like 7, 8 games that year. The front office wanted to fire Frank Reich, and Doug Peterson was the only one that protected Frank by staying there and really defended him like crazy. Okay, so the Eagles wouldn't have never even had Frank Reich in 2017, and that would have been the biggest mistake. They almost gave up on Frank Reich after 1 year as the coordinator and actually helping Doug tremendously in what he was doing for both those years. Remember, Doug Peterson got fired. The Eagles brought in Josh McDaniels like multiple times, okay, on like 2, 3 interviews before he even talked about Nick Sirianni. And McDaniels backed out of the Colts head coaching job. And then once he backed out, Frank Reich became the head coach. And then Frank Reich gave Sirianni right to Philadelphia. Not only do I think it probably wouldn't be as bad as a mix that I think it is, as much as they are friends and it kind of annoys me that they are. You know, this is an ex-quarterback that knows how to use quarterbacks. And I don't think he's the perfect coach. I don't think he was a great head coach for the Colts. I think he was a really good coordinator for the Eagles under Doug Peterson. So, I mean, could be a really good coordinator, next year, or at least a guy that comes in as a consultant this year in 25 to really help us out to go into that 26 season as the full-time offensive coordinator. So I think either or will work out. So is the right move Frank Reich right now to next year? You guys let me know. And the final news to everything here. It seems like, and this isn't reported as Eagle fans. I thought this was a joke when I first seen it like yesterday morning. Okay. Eagle fans apparently went over to Kevin Patullo's home, his residence, and egged his fucking house. First, I thought I heard it was rocks. Then it was egging his house. God knows whoever got his address. God knows who these people are, because there hasn't been anything reported that they are Eagle fans. They want to push that narrative, obviously. And why would some random guy's house that works in the NFL have his house egged to death? Okay, there was a video out on TikTok about it. I don't know who it's from. This is a very serious religious faith of having football in our lives every single year and following it and wanting this team to win every year. But outside of football is outside of football, okay? All these players have their safe space. All of these coaches have their safe space outside of football, at their residence, with their wives, with their families. Okay, this is something you don't do, and like this is why Eagles fans get the shit that they get. There hasn't been anything proven that this is Eagle fans doing this. You just see a few people out on this video throwing stuff at Kevin Patullo's house, and that's not right. I mean, look, does he suck as an offensive coordinator? Sure, but I'm not like, yo, let's go over to Kevin Patullo's house and start throwing. You know what I mean? Like it's so stupid, and that really sucks for him, and that probably won't make him feel good about this city, and that's not a good thing at all. So I want to apologize for Kevin Patullo for dealing with that stupid shit. Regardless if he is a good OC, bad OC, whatever the case may be with that, guys, like he is not qualified. He is trying his best, but that should not result in, what's going on with that. And I want to know your thoughts on that. I've seen some Eagle fans say, good, I'm glad they did it. Like there's people out there that actually root for this shit. I don't get why. But that's where we're at right now. Well, that's about it, guys. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. Make sure you hit the like button because it helps out tremendously. Check out the Philly Shakedown podcast merch. Brand new designs are out now. Order as early as possible. Get them ASAP through the mail, for a friend, for a family member. All the new Eagles stuff for the Shakedown is out. Go check it. Link in the description for all of that. I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes one up, follow side. Peace out, guys.